Let's take a look at our top story this hour. As the India-China border situation remains tense, the focus is on Moscow, where the foreign ministers of the SCO, the Shanghai Cooperation Organisation, are meeting. And India's Foreign Minister Jaishankar will be attending the SCO ministerial meeting. He will also hold bilateral meetings, starting with his Russian counterpart, Sergei Lavrov. Now, both sides will focus on aspects of bilateral and regional concerns. But when it comes to the issue of the India-China border tensions, Moscow has adopted an approach of non-interference in bilateral issues between the two countries. A lot hinges on how things go in Moscow. Chinese Foreign Minister Wang Yi is there too. Now, Jaishankar and Wang Yi will be face-to-face 3 times today, and they'll participate in common engagements. There'll be a meeting between both the nations on the sidelines. On the other hand, Pakistan is being represented by Foreign Minister Shah Mahmood Qureshi. Before leaving for Moscow, Jaishankar said that India will continue its zero diplomacy policy with Pakistan until it shuns terror. Therefore, no meeting can be expected with Pakistan on the sidelines of the SCO Meet.
Step aside. Thanks.
We'll go straight in.
Okay.
Now, as the India-China border situation remains tense, the focus is now on Moscow, where the foreign ministers of the Shanghai Cooperation Organisation, otherwise known as the SCO, are gathering to meet. Now, India's Foreign Minister Jaishankar will be attending the SCO ministerial meeting, and he will be holding bilateral meetings, first of which will be with his Russian counterpart, Sergei Lavrov. Now, both sides will focus on the aspects of bilateral and regional concerns. But interestingly, when it comes to the issue of the India-China border tensions, Moscow has adopted an approach of non-interference in these bilateral issues between the two countries. Now, WION correspondent Julia Chapman joins us live from Moscow for more on this. Good afternoon to you, Julia. Jaishankar will be holding bilateral meetings, starting with his Russian counterpart, Sergei Lavrov. Now, both sides will focus on various aspects of bilateral and regional concerns. What are some of the main points of focus?
Well, there are a number of issues on the agenda for the foreign ministers at the Shanghai Cooperation Organisation foreign ministers meeting that is ongoing here in Moscow over the next couple of days, and chief among them will be the pandemic, of course, COVID-19, a very pressing issue for all countries in the world. And Sergei Lavrov, the Russian foreign minister, has said that under the conditions of the pandemic, joint cooperation among SCO member countries is more important than ever and more in demand than ever. They'll also be talking about regional security and terrorism, and also about furthering economic cooperation, developing rural areas, and moving away from some of the bigger currencies in the world like the US dollar towards focusing more on trade between the SCO members using their own currencies.
Right, and what are we expecting from this meet, especially considering the current situation with the border tensions between India and China, with Russia's approach of non-interference in bilateral issues?
Yes, that will certainly be at the forefront, the tensions between China and India. We understand that the foreign ministers of those two countries will be meeting on the sidelines of the SCO foreign ministers meeting, and this will be the first face-to-face meeting between Chinese and Indian officials since the standoff began along their border earlier this year. And it comes at a time of increased tensions because just this week there was an exchange of fire across the border in that disputed area between India and China, and each of New Delhi and Beijing blames the other for that incident. Nevertheless, they will be meeting this afternoon in about 3 hours' time for a short meeting. We understand it will be around 15 to 30 minutes long, where the foreign ministers of India and China are expected to discuss how to de-escalate the situation in that area and avoid a military confrontation.
Right, Julia, thank you very much for joining us and bringing us all the latest out of Moscow.